One man reportedly became worth $1 trillion, a number once considered completely impossible. When the reports emerged, millions wondered whether such extraordinary wealth could actually exist. The richest billionaires on Earth suddenly appeared far smaller than anyone expected. But solving this mystery requires understanding why $1 trillion seemed unreachable. Most people underestimate the enormous gap separating billions from the trillion-dollar milestone. For generations, economists believed nobody would accumulate wealth on such a scale. Even history's wealthiest rulers never officially crossed the trillion-dollar threshold during life. The world's richest business legends built empires, yet remained far below it. So what changed recently that made this impossible financial milestone suddenly achievable? The answer begins with a businessman whose ambitions repeatedly defied conventional wisdom. Ironically, the path toward unprecedented wealth nearly collapsed before it truly began. Many experts believed his companies would fail long before achieving lasting success. At one stage, bankruptcy appeared far more likely than unimaginable future wealth. Yet hidden beneath those setbacks, one company was quietly transforming transportation. Consumer demand increased steadily, while investors imagined an entirely different future. Each valuation increase dramatically boosted the fortunes of major shareholders involved. Meanwhile, another company pursued goals many competitors considered financially impossible. Every successful landing lowered costs and increased confidence across the aerospace industry. Then an ambitious satellite project created an entirely new business opportunity. Suddenly, space technology generated revenue far beyond traditional rocket launches alone. As investor demand increased, company valuations began reaching extraordinary new levels. Some experts started noticing wealth accumulation occurring at an unprecedented pace. The billionaire rankings changed constantly, yet one individual kept pulling ahead. Years earlier, analysts had predicted several possible candidates for this milestone. But nobody expected the race toward $1 trillion to accelerate this quickly. Several billionaires appeared capable of reaching the trillion-dollar milestone before anyone else. Analysts debated endlessly over which empire would eventually produce history's first trillionaire. Retail, technology, and luxury industries all seemed capable of creating unprecedented wealth. Every year, predictions changed as fortunes rose and fell dramatically across markets. The competition looked close, but hidden forces were quietly changing everything. Demand for electric vehicles continued growing faster than many experts anticipated. New factories increased production capacity and strengthened investor confidence in future growth. Each increase in company value added billions to shareholder wealth almost overnight. The numbers were becoming so large that many observers struggled believing them. Meanwhile, space operations were expanding far beyond what critics once imagined. Frequent launches demonstrated a business model competitors found increasingly difficult matching consistently. The satellite network kept growing, opening new markets and attracting additional customers. What started as an ambitious experiment was becoming a powerful revenue engine. Investors eagerly purchased shares, pushing estimated company values to astonishing heights. Every funding round increased speculation about an approaching financial milestone. Yet one crucial question remained unanswered by even the most experienced analysts. Could these soaring valuations genuinely support the world's first trillion-dollar fortune? The answer depended entirely on how investors valued future growth opportunities. Some believed valuations were justified, while others warned of dangerous optimism. The disagreement only made the mystery surrounding this fortune even greater. Despite criticism, the wealth estimates continued rising month after month without slowing. Soon, major news outlets began openly discussing the once unthinkable trillion-dollar benchmark. Public fascination intensified as the numbers approached levels never witnessed before. Then the world realized the milestone had arrived much sooner than expected. Only one final surge remained before history would enter completely uncharted territory. Around the world, Investors watched closely as wealth estimates approached an unimaginable milestone. 4 years, the trillion-dollar benchmark existed only in predictions, never reality. Everything now depended on whether investors believed future growth remained unstoppable. Then a major valuation event suddenly changed the entire conversation forever. The transaction revealed a company value far higher than most expectations. Almost instantly, calculations showed one individual's fortune had reached historic territory. The number finally crossed a threshold humanity had never officially witnessed before. For the first time, a person's estimated net worth exceeded $1 trillion. Media organizations worldwide rushed to verify the astonishing claims before publishing them. Within hours, headlines declared that history's first trillionaire had finally arrived. The story quickly became one of the most discussed financial events ever. Many celebrated the achievement, while others questioned whether the fortune was real. Because there was something important most people misunderstood about net worth. $1 trillion net worth does not mean possessing $1 trillion in cash. Instead, wealth reflects the estimated value of assets and ownership stakes. If valuations rise, fortunes grow rapidly. If valuations fall, fortunes shrink. This reality fueled a heated debate surrounding the $1 trillion milestone. Some called it a legitimate achievement, while others remained deeply skeptical. Was the world's first trillionaire truly worth that amount, or only temporarily? The answer depended entirely on how future investors continued valuing those companies. As long as growth continued, the $1 trillion fortune appeared increasingly secure. Multiple businesses were contributing to a financial empire unlike anything previously seen. The empire extended far beyond a single company or industry alone. Compared with earlier billionaires, the scale of wealth looked almost unreal. Yet an even bigger mystery remained unanswered after the $1 trillion milestone was reached. Crossing $1 trillion made history, but it also created an entirely new question. If one person reached $1 trillion, could others eventually follow the same path? Suddenly, attention shifted from the first trillionaire to identifying the second one. Several billionaires possessed fortunes large enough to remain serious contenders for years. The next trillionaire could emerge from technology, retail, luxury goods, or somewhere unexpected. Some analysts believe artificial intelligence may create wealth faster than any industry before. If AI transforms entire economies, its biggest investors could become unimaginably wealthy. The possibility raises another question that sounds even more unbelievable than before. Could humanity eventually witness an individual worth $10 trillion or more? The idea seems absurd today, much like trillionaires once seemed decades ago. History repeatedly shows that financial limits often disappear when innovation changes everything. Every revolutionary technology creates opportunities capable of generating extraordinary wealth concentrations. The industries producing tomorrow's trillionaires may barely exist in recognizable form today. Future fortunes could emerge from countries and industries currently overlooked by investors. That uncertainty makes predicting the next trillionaire surprisingly difficult, despite current rankings. Yet another mystery emerged as fortunes approached levels comparable to entire nations. Some individuals now control wealth exceeding the economic output of many countries. This shift has sparked debates about influence, power, and economic inequality worldwide. Supporters praise innovation, while critics worry about unprecedented concentrations of wealth. The first trillionaire became more than a financial milestone. It became a symbol. To supporters, it symbolized innovation's power to create extraordinary value for society. To critics, it highlighted how dramatically wealth can accumulate within modern economies. Regardless of perspective, nobody could deny the milestone had changed history permanently. The achievement joined a short list of events that reshaped financial expectations forever, and the answer may determine whether trillionaires become rare exceptions or common realities. The world's first trillionaire changed more than rankings, he changed financial history itself. For centuries, wealth expanded gradually, but technological revolutions dramatically accelerated accumulation. The trillion-dollar milestone emerged from multiple industries expanding simultaneously at unprecedented scales. What once required generations of growth suddenly happened within a remarkably short period. Yet the future remains uncertain because fortunes depend heavily upon continued investor confidence. A trillion-dollar fortune can grow larger tomorrow or shrink significantly during market downturns. That uncertainty keeps the mystery alive even after the milestone has been achieved. Others continue chasing the same goal, hoping to become the next trillionaire. Future contenders may come from industries that barely exist in recognizable forms today. Many experts believe artificial intelligence could create wealth beyond anything previously imagined. If 1 trillion became possible, perhaps even greater fortunes eventually await humanity. The impossible often appears unrealistic until someone finally proves it can happen. Countless experts once dismissed this milestone as fantasy, yet reality proved otherwise. History rarely follows expectations, especially when innovation begins reshaping entire industries. Somewhere today, another entrepreneur may already be building tomorrow's unimaginable fortune. The next economic revolution could arrive from directions nobody currently expects. Every generation encounters breakthroughs that redefine what humans believe financially possible. Whether admired or criticized, innovation remains the force driving extraordinary wealth creation. The first trillionaire became a symbol of both opportunity and growing economic questions. His fortune sparked conversations extending far beyond business, technology, or investment circles. Some nations now possess economies smaller than fortunes controlled by individual entrepreneurs. That reality forces difficult questions about influence, responsibility, and future economic balance. Supporters argue transformative technologies justify the enormous wealth generated through innovation. Critics counter that extreme fortunes highlight structural problems within modern economic systems. Regardless of opinion, the milestone marked a turning point nobody can ignore. Future generations may view this moment as the beginning of an entirely new era. What seems extraordinary now could eventually become normal under future economic conditions. For now, however, one achievement stands alone above every previous financial milestone. The mystery is no longer how someone reached $1 trillion, but what comes next. Because once humanity creates its first trillionaire, every financial limit suddenly becomes questionable. Reaching $1 trillion required more than luck. It demanded multiple thriving industries. One major pillar of the fortune came from transforming transportation on a global scale. Production expanded relentlessly, convincing investors future demand could remain exceptionally strong. Each increase in company valuation translated directly into greater shareholder wealth. Eventually, the market valued the company far beyond traditional automotive competitors. But transportation alone could never fully explain a $1 trillion personal fortune. The second pillar emerged from an industry once considered commercially impossible. Repeated launch success transformed skepticism into confidence throughout the aerospace sector. Lower costs attracted customers and created advantages competitors struggled matching consistently. Demand increased as organizations worldwide sought reliable access to space. Then another opportunity appeared high above Earth, hidden within satellite technology. What began as an ambitious vision evolved into a growing source of revenue. The project expanded rapidly, increasing investor optimism about future earnings potential. Strong investor demand pushed private valuations to levels previously considered unrealistic. Those valuations became essential ingredients in calculating the $1 trillion fortune. Every estimate relied heavily upon the market's belief in future growth. The fortune represented ownership stakes, rather than mountains of available cash. This distinction confused many people following headlines about the first trillionaire. Net worth measures estimated asset values, not money stored inside bank accounts. Even the world's richest individuals cannot instantly spend their entire estimated fortunes. Because fortunes rise and fall whenever investors change their expectations about growth. The same forces creating extraordinary wealth can also erase billions surprisingly quickly. This uncertainty sparked fierce debates about whether trillion-dollar wealth was sustainable. Supporters celebrated innovation, while critics questioned valuations supporting such immense fortunes. The disagreement only deepened public fascination with the world's first trillionaire. Few moments in financial history have generated this level of global attention. The milestone reflected years of innovation rather than a single breakthrough event. Together, these businesses created an economic ecosystem unlike anything previously witnessed. Yet an even larger mystery was beginning to emerge beyond this achievement. Because once one person reaches $1 trillion, others inevitably begin chasing it. Several contenders already possess fortunes large enough to enter serious consideration. Many of today's largest businesses continue growing at extraordinary rates worldwide. Artificial intelligence may accelerate wealth creation faster than previous technological revolutions. Some analysts believe AI could create entirely new categories of billion-dollar enterprises. If those predictions prove accurate, today's records may eventually appear surprisingly modest. That possibility raises questions once reserved for science fiction and speculation. Could future entrepreneurs eventually control wealth measured in multiple trillions of dollars? The idea sounds unbelievable now, just as trillionaires once sounded impossible. Meanwhile, individual fortunes increasingly rival the economic output of smaller nations. This shift is changing how people think about wealth, influence, and power. Questions about responsibility become more important as fortunes continue expanding dramatically. Public opinion remains divided over what these extraordinary fortunes ultimately represent. Some view trillionaires as innovators, while others see growing economic imbalance. Regardless of perspective, the milestone permanently changed expectations about future wealth. The limits people once accepted are now being questioned across every industry. Tomorrow's fortunes may emerge from technologies still developing behind laboratory doors. The story of the first trillionaire may actually mark the beginning. Humanity continues building systems capable of generating unprecedented economic value worldwide. The next chapter depends on innovations that have yet to reshape society. One mystery has been solved, but an even larger one is only beginning. The first trillionaire answered one question, but immediately created several new mysteries. Investors now wonder who will become the second person crossing this historic threshold. Several business empires already possess enough momentum to remain serious contenders, yet many analysts believe artificial intelligence could completely change the race. Unlike previous technologies, artificial intelligence has the potential to transform every industry. Its influence may spread faster and further than any innovation before it. Investors are already assigning enormous values to businesses leading this technological revolution. Some experts believe today's AI pioneers could become tomorrow's wealthiest individuals. That possibility raises another question previously dismissed as completely unrealistic. Could someone eventually accumulate a fortune exceeding $10 trillion in value? The suggestion sounds absurd now, but trillionaires once sounded equally impossible. History repeatedly demonstrates how quickly assumptions collapse when innovation accelerates unexpectedly. Every generation experiences developments that fundamentally redefine economic possibilities. Future wealth may emerge from industries that currently exist only as concepts. Some fortunes already rival the economic output generated by entire countries annually. That reality creates difficult questions about influence, accountability, and global power structures. As fortunes grow larger, public interest in these questions continues intensifying worldwide. Supporters emphasize innovation, while critics focus on widening economic disparities and risks. Both sides agree on one fact: wealth is reaching unprecedented historical levels. The next trillionaire may not emerge from the same industries as the first. History often rewards unexpected innovators long before the world notices their potential. Many dominant companies began as ambitious ideas dismissed by experienced observers. The future's greatest fortunes may currently be hiding in plain sight. Some transformative discoveries remain years away from reaching public attention and markets. When those breakthroughs arrive, they could generate entirely new categories of wealth. Financial milestones once considered ultimate achievements may eventually become stepping stones. The limits defining wealth today are surprisingly modest to future generations. Human progress keeps creating opportunities capable of producing extraordinary economic value. Several emerging technologies possess the potential to reshape civilization and wealth creation. The challenge lies in predicting which innovations will ultimately dominate the future. Even experienced analysts frequently underestimate how rapidly transformative industries can grow. Many breakthroughs succeeded precisely because experts failed to anticipate their impact. Somewhere today, another entrepreneur may already be building the next revolution. If successful, that innovation could create fortunes larger than today's record holders. The first trillionaire may represent a beginning rather than a final destination. Human ambition rarely stops after reaching goals previously believed impossible. Every breakthrough encourages others to attempt achievements once considered beyond reach. That cycle has repeated throughout history and shows no signs of ending. The future of wealth remains uncertain, but its scale continues expanding dramatically. Ultimately, the story extends beyond one person and one extraordinary fortune. It reflects humanity's ability to create value through imagination, risk, and persistence. Those forces continue shaping industries capable of generating unimaginable future wealth. The real mystery now concerns how far these forces can ultimately go. Because once $1 trillion became possible, every previous limit suddenly became uncertain. Perhaps the next impossible milestone is already approaching faster than anyone realizes. Tomorrow's economic landscape may look radically different from anything visible today. And somewhere along that timeline, another unimaginable record may eventually fall. The world's first trillionaire solved one mystery while creating many others. The race continues, the possibilities expand, and the next chapter has already begun. After centuries of economic history, humanity finally witnessed its first $1 trillion fortune. Generations pursued wealth and influence, yet none officially crossed this extraordinary threshold. The achievement redefined expectations about how large personal fortunes could eventually become. It wasn't created by a single product, but by multiple industries growing simultaneously. Every piece contributed to a financial structure powerful enough to reach unprecedented heights. Yet the fortune depended heavily upon confidence that future growth would continue. Because extraordinary wealth can rise quickly, but it can also change rapidly. That uncertainty remains one of the most fascinating aspects of modern fortunes. Perhaps the real mystery was never the money itself, but what created it. Innovation, risk, persistence, and timing combined to create what once seemed impossible. Every great fortune ultimately traces back to solving problems people desperately need solved. The next record-breaking fortune will already be forming somewhere unnoticed right now. Future trillionaires could emerge from industries still developing beyond today's public attention. And future generations may view today's milestone as merely an early beginning. History suggests human ambition rarely stops after reaching seemingly impossible achievements. As innovation accelerates, the scale of future wealth may continue expanding dramatically. Whether celebrated or criticized, extreme wealth raises important questions about society's future. One thing remains certain: the financial world will never view limits identically again. The first trillionaire didn't just break records. He changed what humanity believes possible. And somewhere beyond today's horizon, another impossible milestone is already waiting.